Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here. Welcome to my full walkthrough of Dark Souls 2 Vanilla. So we are playing on version 1.0. The reason I'm doing this is, first and foremost, a little boredom and a little antsiness for Elden Ring, really. It's February, and we're only a couple weeks away from the release of Elden Ring. And last year I covered the entire Souls series on this channel with walkthroughs of this nature. And Dark Souls 2 is the only game in the series that has effectively been completely redone and changed. So, each game gets patches, each game gets updates, they all get DLC. But Dark Souls 2 is the only game whose vanilla experience, meaning like the base game, has changed dramatically from the time it has released. Scholar of the First Sin introduced so many quality of life changes and really kind of retooled the base experience of the game, and it's quite different. So I wanted to take the opportunity to play through the PS3 version, keeping it at 1.0, and showing you what this game was like when it first came out. This is going to be much less of a walkthrough, more of a let's play, just because nobody needs this walkthrough. I mean, no one needs this. No one asked for this, but I figured, you know what? Let's give it a shot. So we are playing on PlayStation 3. If you want to do this alongside me, all you need is a disc copy of the PS3 version or the 360 version, and just don't update it. And that disc should be 1.0 if you have an early enough copy. I don't think they released any patched copies, if I'm not mistaken, but not sure. All right. Let's go. There's a bit of an audio delay. So we will be playing offline, of course, just because if we went online, we'd have to update. So we won't see any player messages, no phantoms or anything. That's okay. I am going to be skipping the cutscenes just because we don't really need them. Okay. So we are going to start off in Things Betwixt. And really the first thing you're going to notice being dramatically different is the frame rate. Dark Souls 2 on PS3 attempts to run at 30 frames per second. Really does not succeed in that. So it's pretty low here in Things Betwixt, and this is more or less like a closed cave. So the frame rate doesn't improve that much, at least from what I remember. Okay, so a lot of the item locations are going to be completely different from Scholar of the First Sin. I know for a fact this item has changed. Yeah, I don't remember what it is in Scholar, but I don't think it's rusted coins. Yeah, see, in this extremely small area, the frame rate gets a bit better. But then once we get out here where there's foliage, it just plummets again. So, Scholar of the First Sin really, really improved the base game. I cannot overstate that enough. Or I cannot emphasize that enough, and I certainly can't overstate it. Okay. Let's go into the witch's hut, trigger the intro cutscene, and then we will create our character. So keeping in the tradition of these. Oh, actually, I usually call these guide, but you know what? My characters are always called Noodles. I don't know why. I think I was eating noodles when I first played Dark Souls. We'll call them Noodles Vanilla. Noodles Van. There we go. All right. Yes, I'm sure of my name. My name is Noodles Van. Pleasure to meet you. All right, class. What did we do last time? I think we did the knight. Yeah, let's... I remember sorcery was extremely strong in vanilla. But I never really play caster, so I'm going to go with the knight again. We'll do exactly what we did in Scholar. Starting gift. We'll do healing wares. And then we'll finalize. Okay. I mentioned this, and I'm going to tell a lot of the same kind of anecdotes that I did in Scholar, but one of the interesting things about Dark Souls 2 is that when you start off, you start the game before going into character creation, but your character is playable, and if you take off all of the clothes, you realize that you're playing as a male character before you even select your gender, which is kind of strange that they did it this way. Frankly, I don't know why you don't just start in this house from a cutscene. I don't get it, but it's the way it is. All right, so we're going to go back out here, and we're going to kill this ogre now that we have a weapon. And I just noticed that actually creating your character turns you human. I didn't notice that before. All right, so we got the ogre tracks. And this is vanilla, so the hitboxes are going to be a little different. Oh, these frames. Oh, that was nice. Couple more hits. All right. Drops a ring, I believe. Yes, the stone ring. There's a lag when you press the start button. Alright, so this reduces enemy poise. That's nice. Okay, now we can move into things betwixt here. Open this door. Then activate our first bonfire. The frame rate. Okay, so one of the major changes... Oh. Forgot about my torch. So one of the major changes that you'll notice starting off is that there is no longer a petrified hollow blocking the entrance to the ogre area. So from the jump, you can go after the ogres. So I'm going to light this, and then we're going to go there, just because I don't have any souls to really lose. So in Scholar, there is a petrified hollow here, so you can't actually go here until a little later on, once you get your first fragrant branch of yore. Oh my god. Also, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be totally wrong, but I don't think lighting all the torches in Things Betwixt does anything in the vanilla base game. But I'm going to light them anyway. Just because, you know, that's what adventurers are supposed to do. Supposed to light the torches for other adventurers. Or Braziers. Okay. So another big change from Vanilla to Scholar is the Pursuer doesn't show up as much. And what I mean by that is in Scholar, he really pursues you throughout the game. That he really lives up to his namesake. However, in Vanilla, he does no such thing. He only shows up... Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. I thought the other one got stuck on the beach. In Vanilla, he only shows up in Forest of the Fallen Giants, and then later on in Forest of the Fallen Giants. I don't even think he shows up in Lost Bastille. Oh, yeah, the load times or something, too. Forgot about that. For some reason, the door closes. All right, let's try to kill those things again. Luckily, we could just go this way. Let's try this strategy. Let's see if we can kite one up, and then I'll drop down for the other. No, that ain't gonna work. Oh, Jesus. Let's go down here. Maybe we can just get one. This is really stupid. I don't know why I'm wasting time with this. I don't think these guys even give anything. Oh. Oh, wow. I think I'm still dead. Will you suicide? Oh. Oh my God. I didn't think I could walk over there. That's sad. Alright, we'll give it one more try. Alright. Great. That was an auto roll. I did not press that button. What? Where's the other one? I definitely didn't get the souls for it if it dropped off. Because I only have 1,200. I got 1,000 from the first ogre that gave me the ring. And then 200 from killing that zombie twice. Okay. I'm genuinely confused. All right, so this coffin, I'm still so confused. This sarcophagus coffin thing here, if you get inside of it, well, it actually looks like a boat with a roof. Now that I'm looking at it. Anyway, if you get inside of this thing, it will change your character's gender. So you can change your gender on the fly. And I have to imagine that they knew what they were doing when they named this area Things Betwixt. Because the coffin changes your things betwixt. Or the thing betwixt your life. You know, it's just like a dumb, dirty joke. Anyway. Oh boy, this frame rate. Let's clear out these trees. What I'm actually going to do is once we're done here, I'm going to rest and see if those ogres respawn. Whoops. So these things are just little tutorials. These little trees. They just teach you the basics of the game. And instead of having developer messages, they have since changed to like developer tablets. So the system messages are displayed on the tablets instead of messages like in Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1. These guys don't have a very good death gurgle. Yeah, I mean, that ogre is not there. We'll rest at a bonfire and check later. So the torch is a really cool mechanic. I mentioned this a fair amount during my Scholar playthrough, but Dark Souls 2 was originally supposed to have a pretty gangster lighting engine that was shown off at a couple conventions when the game was first being promoted. Sadly, they could not get that lighting engine to work on modern consoles at the time, which is the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. So despite probably working just fine on a PC, it was too much for consoles to handle. Actually, that's just speculation. Maybe it didn't work on PC. Who knows? Like, we really have no idea. Anywho, sadly it was removed, but the torch mechanic remained, which I think is still nice. I think it's a cool idea. It just didn't work that well in Dark Souls 2, which is sad. But, you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. All right, so this nest here is for this game's crow. And it's the same system as always. You drop an item into the nest, you reload your game, and then the crow will give you something in return. It doesn't work for every single item, but there is a list of every possible outcome, and that list is available on the Dark Souls 2 wiki. So I recommend checking that out if you want to make any trades. I don't know if any of the trades are necessary for any trophies. I actually did not get the Platinum Trophy in the vanilla version of the game. I did get it in Scholar, though. So before we go into the next tree, I'm just going to check this out. I want to see if this ogre is here. No. Where did this thing go? Where did it go? I'm puzzled. I am genuinely very, very, very puzzled. That's weird. Okay. Anyway, let's go to the next tree now. This tree is going to teach us about platforming. Go ahead and light up our torch, and then we'll light a brazier in here. So your torch is on a timer, but every torch that you pick up in your adventure will give you an additional 5 minutes on the timer. So by the end of the game, you'll have like 4 hours worth of torch. You get so many, and you can also buy them. All right, so we're going to attempt to make this jump. Just want to make sure that my jump is configured correctly. I don't think it is. Okay, so jump in Dark Souls 2 is bound to L3, or, you know, pressing in the left stick. Right, so we're going to change that to circle. A lot of people prefer L3. I'm just learning from Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1. I just can't get into it. I do understand why people like it. I do get it. Having jump bound to a different button than your dash so you don't have to double tap is very smart. It's just my brain doesn't allow me to play with it. Okay, great. So that's jumping. The jumping in Dark Souls 2 feels a little strange. Your character feels like they're wearing like cement shoes or something like that. It just doesn't feel great. That's my opinion. Oh, okay. I don't know what happened to my weapon there. I must have pressed right at some point. Okay, and then I believe there is a brazier in here. Nope, just a treasure. Cracked red eye orb, good for invading. Okay, so I only have 30 seconds left on the torch. I don't know if I'm done. Okay, I'm done now. Yeah, okay. I don't think it does anything. I'm pretty sure the invader was added in Scholar. I'm going to look this up really quick, just because I need to be certain. Lighting torches in things betwixt. Okay, what we can actually do is, if we got credit for killing that third ogre, we can get the best weapon in the game. I don't know if it's going to give us credit for it, though, because I don't have the souls. Let's find out. So speaking with Millibeth, who is like the handmaid here.
This, fair traveller, why else would this loss? My name is the old women. I am he. It is what the old women would, but now, and the king. The old women, long ago, but now. The old women, long ago, but now they.
I don't know.
Long ago.
I don't think it's going to give me credit for it. Try talking to her one more time. Nope.
Well, I said to stop.
Yeah, okay. So the ogre's dead, but we didn't get credit. Had we gotten credit for it, Millibeth would have given us a ladle. But, oh well. Yeah, so the wiki says, in Scholar of the First Sin, lighting all the braziers and things betwixt will cause a dark spirit to spawn near the entrance, and it'll drop a petrified something when slain. Yeah, it does nothing in vanilla Dark Souls 2. which is a bit of a bummer. I have a feeling that, you know, in the original development, this area was supposed to be very dark, and the torch was supposed to be, like, required. And this whole area was teaching you that, hey, there's a cool lighting engine now. But unfortunately, it got removed, and so all the, you know, functionality went with it, which is a shame. Okay, so now we're going to head to the hub of this game, which in my opinion has probably the best hub music in the series, rivaled only to Firelink Shrine in Dark Souls 1. This is Majula. And I don't know if you can hear that tone, but that means my laundry's done. So we're going to end this video in a moment. Right on time. So we can drop here, and then drop here again. And then this should be the binoculars. Oh, Morningstar, Cleric's Chime, and then binoculars should be here. Yep. Great. So now we got the binoculars, so we can gaze into the distance. Pop out right here. So in Majula, we have the Far Fire. So we can go ahead and light that. And then resting at the bonfire, you'll notice that we can travel, attune spells, burn an item box. Burning performs different functions. So in Dark Souls 2, there's an interesting mechanic which is really nice from like an accessibility perspective and like helping players just kind of get through the game, but frustrating from a farming perspective. And unfortunately, I don't have the item, but there's an item called a bonfire ascetic, and you can burn a bonfire ascetic at a bonfire, and it will level up that area to New Game Plus. So just the area around that bonfire that bonfire controls, the area will level up to New Game Plus. So in Dark Souls 2, the mechanic I'm referring to is that after you kill something, I believe it's 7 times, that enemy will stop spawning. And that's cool because it's like if you're just repeating yourself and dying to the same thing over and over, chances are you'll have an easier time getting back to it because if you've killed everything 7 times, it'll stop spawning. But there are certain enemies in the game that drop certain items, and you'll want to farm for them, especially if you're going for trophies. And this mechanic prevents you from doing that. But the way around it is to burn a bonfire ascetic, and then you level up that area to New Game Plus. All the enemies respawn. Their 7 kill count timer, whatever, respawns or resets back to 0. And then New Game Plus in Dark Souls 2 is actually fantastic. And new enemies spawn, loot tables change, item descriptions change sometimes, and the game becomes fresh. You get new invasions. It's a really great New Game Plus system that unfortunately was never used again. Like New Game Plus in Souls games before and after, and Bloodborne and Sekiro, you just do the same thing over again. Dark Souls 2 is really the only game in the series that takes it to another level. Hopefully we'll see it come back in Elden Ring, because it's like the one huge thing from Dark Souls 2 that I wish they brought forward. Anyway, so that's bonfire aesthetics and the death cycles. You can also burn human effigies. You don't need to do this though. You could just use them. But burning it will make it so you get invaded less and you find less summon signs. So I don't really know why you would want to burn them, but you can. And then you'll have bonfire aesthetics as well. And then the item to either increase your flask or level up your flask, you burn as well. Item box, you start with an item box from the jump. You don't have to buy it. Attune spells, very similar to Demon Souls and Dark Souls. And then warping is unlocked from the start in Dark Souls 2. So you don't have to place a Lord Vessel. Okay. But to level up, we want to talk to this woman in here. I always call her the Maiden in Green. I don't remember what her name is.
Or merely, I will He who
her real name is Shanalot, but she's referred to as something else.
their soul, so that hope seek soul, lest this land.
Emerald Herald. I always call her the Maiden in Green, and that's a joke from Matthew Matosis. Great YouTuber, did a great critique of this game, but that's the one joke that stuck with me, and now all I can think of her as is the Maiden in Green. Anyway, she will level up. She's your level up menu, so you got to visit her every time. I really recommend... Excuse me. Oh, bless me. I really recommend leveling up adaptability. If you haven't watched my Scholar of the First Sin walkthrough, I'll explain what adaptability is. So it's a little vague, but if you read the tooltip, it says raises various attributes to ensure one's survival, boosts agility, and various resistances. Resistances is obvious, right? But if you look, when we level everything up, it just seems to level up HP, poison resist, bleed, petrify, curse, and something called AGL, which we can assume is agility, and poise. If we go over to agility, it tells us boosts ease of evasion and other actions. And poise is, of course, withstanding impact. However, in Vanilla Dark Souls 2, poise didn't exist. It was broken. So this doesn't matter. I'm going to fact check myself on that, but I'm almost positive that was the case. Poise broken, Dark Souls 2. Yeah, so nothing, this number never changes. Yeah. Or like the poise system was broken. I'm reading old Steam comments. The information was always a little shoddy. Some people would say, yeah, it's working as intended now. It's just different. Other people were like, no, it's broken. Basically, wearing heavy armor doesn't let you just tank things like you could in Dark Souls 1. You still get stun locked, but the degree is a little different. Don't worry about poise in this game. It's not worth your time. But agility is the thing I want to explain. So I'm going to bring up the table. Adaptability, Dark Souls 2. So adaptability will change your invincibility frames, which is a hidden value. And the soft cap for agility is 110. Okay. So it's loading on the wiki, this adaptability thing, or this agility thing. Adaptability, iframes, Dark Souls 2. Try a different one. Okay, great. Cool. So, in Dark Souls 1 and in Demon Souls and Dark Souls 3 and even Bloodborne, when you roll, you're invincible. And there are different degrees of rolling in those games. So you have light roll, heavy roll, or light roll, medium roll, and heavy roll, or fat roll as it's called. And if you're wearing huge bulky armor, chances are you're going to fat roll. If you're wearing like regular mail or even some, plate, you're going to medium roll. And then if you're wearing like the ninja set, you're going to light roll. If you're naked, you're going to light roll or quick roll. In Dark Souls 2, it's a little different. Your invincibility is determined by your agility value. So your rolling speed will generally be the same, but the amount of invincibility you have during that roll is stat dependent. So really the first thing you want to level in this game is adaptability. This way your agility goes up. So the soft caps, or the soft cap, meaning the highest you want to go in agility, is 116. I think it may actually top out at 120, but it takes a long time to get there. So what you want to do is you want to level up adaptability. Yeah, see, poise is not moving. You want to level up agility until... let's do... Let's get to around probably like 95 agility, or 96. Yeah, so at 85 agility you have 5 iframes. At 86 agility, you have 8 iframes. At 88, you have 9 iframes. And then 92, you have 10. 96, you have 11. So let's go to 88. Since we have 9 iframes. And then I'll level up Vigor as well. So I'll go back and check my Scholar the first and play through and see what I ended at for adaptability, because I know I focused on it first. I don't have any Estus Flash shards, so I can't give it to her. And yeah, so that is the whole stat explanation. It's a little funky, and it doesn't feel great, and I'm glad they never did it again like that. It would have been a lot better had they just explained it, but because we were 2 games into the series at that point, with Demon's Souls and Dark Souls, it just felt like rolling was broken, when really it was now tied to a stat. And that's on pretty much everybody for not reading, but, you know, I feel like they could have provided that information. Anyway, so this is the Majula obelisk. Offline, this will only display your deaths, but when you're online, it'll display world deaths, or the cumulative death counter of everybody in the world. So Dark Souls 2 had a really heavy focus on death, which was both good and bad. I think taking that direction wasn't the right move. That's just me. Okay, so Majula is really cool because just like every hub, you have various places to go. So you can, let me go back to the Farfire here. It's a better vantage point. So you can go to where this torch is lit. That takes you to Forest of Fallen Giants, which is where we will go next. Through this archway goes back to things betwixt. If you look in the distance, you can see a big tower, Sauron's tower looking thing. That is Drain Lake Castle. That is basically our destination that the Emerald Herald told us about. So we will eventually get there, but we can't go there just yet. We're blocked by a door and some branches. And the other place you can go is through here. So down here, this pathway leads to a place called Hyde's Tower Flame, which got drastically changed in Scholar of the First Sin. So we won't go there first. We'll actually go there later. But we have 3 choices, basically. And you can actually adventure a little ways towards the castle. You just can't get very far at this point. So it's a good hub. It has very nice music and a lot of places to go. I'll take this time now to explain things about Majula and the various things inside. So in this house, we have Maulin, or Mauflin, the armorer. Maulin is a really cool NPC because the more you buy from him, the richer he becomes, and his attitude towards you changes. You'll see when you speak to him the first time, he's sort of like begging for souls, but if you basically buy out his inventory, he starts like chilling with his back against the table, like, yeah, what do you want? And if you buy everything from him, he will give you the butterfly armor, which is really, really sick. And we have a treasure up here. So the Titanite shard. Okay. There's actually even more. I always forget about this. So this is the Well of Majula. And you can fall down here if you have the cat ring or enough health. And then this leads to a couple areas that leads to even more of the game. So that's another path you could take. I think you can drop down there at level 1 if you're kind of careful and you take your time and position yourself perfectly. But I won't do this area till way later. So this house is locked for now. That'll be locked until we meet an NPC named Kale the Cartographer, or around then. And then we can actually send him here, and he tells us a lot about the world. But there's some good treasure in that house as well. So in this house, I'm not sure if we can open it. We can. In this house is the cat, Shalqua. And Shalqua is pretty cool. She allows us to change our covenant. Or not change covenant. We can abandon covenant at any time. Then she also has a covenant menu which displays the level that we currently have of a covenant. So leaving a covenant in Dark Souls 2 doesn't reduce your level, which is kind of nice. And then you can buy various items from her, most notably the Silver Cat Ring, which reduces fall damage. Everything else you don't have to buy from her. You pick it up elsewhere.
Well,
all right. So the next thing I want to show you, there's a treasure here. Life gem. And then there's Right, this is where... There's a well here. If we hit the brick... There we go. If we hit the brick, up comes a corpse. We get an Estus Flask shard, so we can actually upgrade our flask. And then there's nothing back here except these hyper aggro pigs. Thought there might be a treasure back there. So over here is a covenant called the Covenant of Champions. And what the Covenant of Champions does is, if you remember a few minutes ago, I was talking about these pigs following me. No, okay. I swear those pigs are crazy. If you join the Covenant of Champions, this will prevent enemies from despawning. But they will become harder. So it basically makes the game... Oh, they are here. Crazy poppin'. Basically makes the game harder, but it does allow you to farm enemies. I'm not sure if enemies have despawned and then you join the Covenant, if they will respawn. I don't remember if it works like that. It's a pretty easy Covenant to level up. All the Covenants in this game are actually very easy to level up offline, which is nice. With the exception of the Bellkeepers. That one can be a little frustrating if you want to play offline. Okay, so this is the blacksmith. However, Lenegrast is locked out of his house. We will find the key to his house a little later on, but you can't actually upgrade your weapons yet. All right, so let's visit the Emerald Herald, give her our Estus Flask shard, and then she can level up our flask, and then I will explain how the Estus Flask works in this game. Okay, so our Estus Flask has been leveled up. The lag on that start button is going to take me a while to get used to. All right, so you can see here that we have 2 Estus Flasks now. So we don't start with 5, and there's no kindling of bonfires like in Dark Souls 1. Healing has now been kind of split between Estus Flasks and Life Gems. So it's basically a hybrid between Demon Souls with Grass and Dark Souls with the Estus Flask. You only start with 1 Estus Flask, but that shard gave us 2, and then you can, get a whole bunch throughout the game, and they become more powerful. One thing I do want to point out, though, and this is very, very important, is a really frustrating change, in my opinion, with the Estus Flask, in that if you're walking and you press square, you come to a full stop while drinking. I'm holding forward the entire time here. It's a little frustrating. Life Gems, however, you do not stop. You slow down, but you don't actually stop. Weird change. I don't like it. It will take a long time for you to get used to, especially when fighting bosses, especially if you're coming from Dark Souls 1 or even Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne or Sekiro or anything. It's just a weird change. But that's basically Majula in a nutshell. In the next part of the playthrough, we will go through Forest of the Fallen Giants. I will attempt to kill the Penetrator on the first attempt, and then we will end it after fighting the last giant. But that's it for now. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for Dark Souls 2, I hope you subscribe so you can join me. And yeah, that's it. All right, thank you so much for watching. I do want to thank my channel members, since this is going to be... Actually, no, I will edit this video since it's 720p. It's really quick. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.